Hello, everyone. So this is Suzanne Wagner. We're at the beginning of the year of 2021, and I wanted to kind of have a little interesting discussion about the incredible challenges of all the healers and all the psychics and all the astrologers worth their salt have been dealing with during the last many years. I think what's really tricky is that we are astrologically in one of the most powerful, difficult, transformational times that any of us will probably live through in this lifetime. And it's an incredible challenge when you understand astrology and patterns in a way that you've done it for a very, very, very long time. To create a positive turn when every single day you're faced with astrology and patterns in the cards that you've literally never seen. And so me personally, I'm a Leo, and I am like the most optimistic person you can possibly imagine. And I mean, I tease and say I'm sort of like a Polly Pureheart, and I believe in humanity, and I believe in the goodness in humanity, and I believe in the human potential, and I believe that there's enough money to go around, and I believe that we can all work together in order to alleviate poverty and to really allow education for everyone so that everyone has an opportunity and an equal chance in life to be able to step forward. And I believe fully and completely that we need to stand up for those that don't have the influence or power or clout. And I feel like you have to stand up to bullies, and I feel like you have to, be a person of good moral character, and that inside of us we have a spark of divinity that I think screams at us that we can do better and we can do more and we can be kinder and we can be more considerate. And so, I've noticed that for me as a psychic, I am not the only psychic on the web out there, and I'm like, the tiny little person out there, there are these massively big people out there. And, if you listen to anybody who is acclaimed or has written books the way I've written books and, has put themselves out there, you're going to hear a similar theme. And I can tell you that I have lots of friends that are astrologers that are better than me, and friends that are psychics that are really well talented and renowned. And we have been seeing this pattern that we are in right now for decades. I mean, you have to understand that we've seen this coming for decades. I mean, I was talking about this period of time that we're in 1993. I mean, it's like we were looking ahead in the astrology going, oh, shit. Like, what the hell is that? And out of all fairness, it's like I never thought it would necessarily be the United States. I mean, I knew that we were going to have this world change and this world cataclysmic catharsis of duality, and that, we would see one side and another side go at odds with each other and tear apart the fabric of the old reality. And we talked about it in great detail. And, we were like, oh, it's China. That was my perception. It's China. It's going to be between, communism and democracy, or communism and capitalism. And, I've spent a lot of my time traveling and being in foreign countries and really looking at the temperature, the temperament of different governments and different cultures and their fears and their concerns. And I lived in Berlin when the wall was up, and you weren't supposed to have a gathering of 4 or more people. And I would be in the East Bloc, and the students would come up to me and be desperate to talk to me because they were just so hungry for information outside of the communist rhetoric. So I've experienced a tremendous amount of cultural differences, and I've been in the middle of military takeovers in Suriname, and literally was hiding at the edge of a jungle, afraid to go to the embassy in order to, because I was afraid I was going to get captured. And I mean, so it's like I've been through crazy amazing times. And so I'm not afraid of much. I mean, I'm not afraid of much. When you've had submachine guns pointed at your head, nothing's pretty scary after that. So it's not that, as I and as these other psychics try to give you guys information, a lot of people are seeing the exact same thing, and we are trying desperately to put a positive spin on it. We're trying desperately to bring it as a tool of conscious awareness to awaken people. We're trying so hard to make this the most powerful lesson to support the shift in consciousness towards peace, towards humanity, towards kindness, towards compassion, towards a better life, a better way. And it's just shocking to me that there are people out there that think that us telling the truth and trying to point out lessons in consciousness that are up for humanity, that we are suddenly like bad people or we're negative. And it's like, you have no idea like how hard it is every single day to look at something astrologically, to look at the cards and try to say, okay, I have got to give hope. I've got to put a spin on this that gives people a direction and gives them a way to go and points out the lessons and tools in consciousness that need to be addressed for all of humanity to shift, because this is not about a few psychics and a few enlightened people being able to turn the tide of this kind of pattern. I mean, we need like millions and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people to awaken and to take 100% accountability and responsibility for your thoughts, for your choices, for your words, and your actions, and how it goes forward. And so, all my friends that are psychics and astrologers are, challenged by the negativity that comes back at them when they are just trying to warn. They're just trying to tell the truth. And I'm so happy with myself that I took some huge risks in the last 4 years, and I put out there in 2020 the raw and real truth. And boy, there were a lot of people that didn't like it. And now at the beginning of 2021, I had people saying, holy crap, I read that you wrote that thing for 2020, starting in 2017, which was true. And I started trying to gently put it out in little forms, like to not overwhelm everybody, but to start to kind of say, okay, we need to look at this and we need to look at this. And, I was trying to create a stair step of progression. I really took time to think it through and say, what's going to happen? What do we need? What are people going to need? How can I institute hope in the middle of this incredibly challenging time and, keep moving these things forward? And so that's what I've tried to do. And I've had people fortunately say to me, holy cow, you laid out 2020 exactly as it goes. And so you have to understand, for a psychic and an astrologer, this isn't, we're looking at things really, well, we try to look at things really objectively, like not from a personal angle, but from a place of, how does this choice that's happening in the world affect things globally? How does this choice affect economies? How does this choice affect hope? There's a big one for 2020. How does this choice create more anxiety and more fear rather than less? And to just bring awareness to that, to say, you have a choice. So this is happening, but it's not about what's happening. That's the problem. It's about what you are deciding to choose to do because of that. So it's your choices that come from that. And to try and give people another door, like rather than collapsing in fear and rather than collapsing in anger or hate or blame or any of this, like what is another way we can go? And yeah, I know that there are airy-fairy metaphysical people out there that are just like, love and light, love and light. You just have to love everything, da 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 da. And I'm sorry, but I'm a realist, and love does not cure everything, but love is the choice for everything. I'll say it like that. So, yes, terrible things are happening, and you can choose to still love. That does not mean that love will heal this. But it means that negativity doesn't damage you, because you're coming from that place of love and openness and awareness. And over again, I try and say, here's the pattern, and these are the choices, and how do we make this choice so that, we still instill hope, we still bring positivity to everybody else, and make it feasible, just make it feasible. So I wanted to say that because, I'll say it like this. Like, I put all this stuff up, I started putting stuff up for 2021 and 2020, like in October, November of 2020. Now people are out there looking at it. And honestly, I was so excited for 2021. I am super like, oh my God, we've got everything going in Aquarius. We are going to have progress. It's going to be slow. We're dragging everything out of this deep, dark, cold, icy, bitter winter. And winter and ice does not just suddenly melt, but it starts to melt. And 2021, we have this thing starting to melt. Now, when things start to melt, guess what? You can get ice dams, and you can get a whole bunch of problems that become complicated because the ice is melting. But the good news is that the ice is melting, and there is change, and there is a lot of change. And I think that the people that negatively react the most to just the objectivity of astrology and psychic stuff right now are those that are really terrified to change. And because it's going to change. And trust me, am I comfortable that it's all going to change? No. Do I expect you all to be comfortable that it's all going to change? Hell no, right? But we have to be willing to change. And the more we just choose. We say, okay, this is the astrology. I'm going to change. I have to progress on a technology level. I have to get more forward in actively taking on things technology-wise and really upgrading systems, which I've been doing in my own house, so that I can accommodate this shift. Do I think the pandemic will eventually be over? Of course. But it's going to be 6 months. It's going to take that much time to create herd immunity with a vaccine and with people that aren't going to take a vaccine. So we have this process that we're in, and yet the process to me is a very good, positive process. I don't think this is a bad process. I think we've been stuck for 6 years, 5 years. I think we've been terribly stuck, and the astrology was terribly stuck. And it was creating a lot of despair and hopelessness. And I'm sorry, I listen to people all day. When people say they get angry at me because I'm instituting fear, I'm like, you're not listening to everybody every day. You're not talking to the people that have so much anxiety and PTSD from fear that they can't even function. And they're calling me, and these children are calling me crying because they're afraid to go to school because they're a mixed blood person. It's like, if you don't realize that there's that much intensity happening in the world, then you're in a lot of denial. And unfortunately, that's what astrology kind of throws in our face. It says, this is the way, this is what's happening, these are the lessons. Now, what are you going to do about it, and how are you going to respond to it? So hopefully from my videos you get that I'm trying to spin this positively, because trust me, every day I am consciously, actively, constructively trying to do that. And I do that with the poetry, trying to give ideas of inspiration, because sometimes when you use metaphor goes in a little easier than words, like flat words. There you go. So I just wanted to put that out there because it's been intense. It's like, holy moly, like this has been so intense. And I am not the only astrologer and psychic that people are lambasting. And so, everybody take a breath. Don't shoot the messenger, right? That kind of thing. It's like, we're just reading things as they are. Okay? Thanks so much.